First off, and it's the news that Barcelona fans, well, they would have been expecting to wake up to for the last few weeks or so, and that is that Ronald Koeman has finally been sacked by the club after a poor run of form which saw 3 defeats in the last 4, including an El Clasico defeat at the weekend. The Dutchman has finally been relieved of his duties, and in all honesty, nobody could say that they didn't see this coming. There has been so much talk about the potential replacement in charge, and I think that's kind of what's been holding back the club from firing him in the first place. The fact that they're completely unsure as to who's going to take over and when they can actually take over. But at the moment, it looks as though Xavi is the front runner. It looks as though for the moment, Barcelona B coach Sergi Barjuan will take over the reins, but obviously they're looking for a more solid replacement. And like I mentioned with Xavi, it's either him or Marcelo Gallardo who are the 2 reported names in the frame. Of course, when it comes to bringing Xavi back from Qatar, they'll be able to pull on his heartstrings about being a former legend at the club, and I'm sure he'll want to take them over as well. But is that really going to sort any problems? Like, I know Xavi's going to be able to instill the Barcelona sort of way into the team, into the tactics, into the philosophy and this, that and the other, but really, are the players that he's got good enough to go ahead and even mount a title challenge for the rest of the season? After the loss to Rayo Vallecano, which saw Memphis Depay miss a penalty and Sergio Aguero start the game, it looks as though Barca are pretty much out of the title race. I know it's only 6 points behind, and I know they're in 9th place, I believe it is, but things just aren't really looking good for the rest of the season. I can't see where they're going to turn things around and go on a ridiculous run that will see them return to the top of La Liga. So it's going to be a very difficult time for Barcelona fans for the rest of the season, and actually, what yesterday represented was 1 year where basically the turmoil began. It's been 1 year since Bartomeu resigned as president, and in that year, they've seen Messi leave, they've seen only 1 trophy victory, and now they've seen Ronald Koeman eventually being fired. Not a great time to be a Barca fan, but on the pitch, I actually think there's still quite a few young players coming through that really represent a promising future for the club. And if Xavi's to come in and really bring back that Barcelona feel to the side, well, just maybe there'll be a success in the next few years after. Next up then, and to what is always the most talked about event in the footballing calendar. Forget the Champions League final, this is the Ballon d'Or ceremony. Anyway, it just doesn't happen for another 4 weeks or so, but of course, as always, some sort of list gets leaked. We always have a joke about this in the One Football offices that, oh, it's going to be leaked now, it's going to be leaked today before, 2 days before. This is a whole month before. And apparently, as we've seen on Twitter with a couple of screenshots of someone, looks like on Snapchat, taking a picture of the final list of who's going to win, it looks as though Robert Lewandowski is taking home the prize. And that isn't really a surprise to anybody. The Bayern Munich striker scores a ridiculous amount of goals, won a couple of trophies last season, and no one would really begrudge him winning the title after it was cancelled last year in a year where he definitely would have deserved it. Anyway, looking down the rest of the list, Lionel Messi comes in 2nd place, fully deserved as well, and Karim Benzema in 3rd place. This is obviously according to this leaked piece of paperwork. I've actually got it down here, well, a picture of it anyway. So Mo Salah in 4th. You've got Jorginho in 5th, Kylian Mbappe, N'Golo Kante, Haaland, Cristiano Ronaldo in 9th, and Kevin De Bruyne seeing out the top 10. Once you get to that kind of number, I don't really think too many people care about who's coming in 9th or 10th. But yeah, in 1st spot, Robert Lewandowski. This may not be 100% true, but going along the leaks of what's happened in the last few years, every time it's leaked, it's been spot on. It looks as though the Polish striker will be taking home the main individual trophy in world football. Moving on then, and actually talking of Bayern Munich, Robert Lewandowski, last night wasn't exactly great. He's probably happy that the Ballon d'Or's already been decided, because he and the rest of the team had an absolute shocker in the German Cup as they lost 5-0 to Gladbach. 5-0! Not exactly the greatest result when they were looking to build up some form recently in the Bundesliga, but there you have it. Julian Nagelsmann actually has COVID and wasn't on the sideline for last night. And is that really a good enough excuse? I don't think so. I just feel like Bayern were completely out of it. Mistake after mistake after mistake, and they found themselves 3-0 down after just 21 minutes. Like I mentioned, not exactly the greatest night for them or for Robert Lewandowski, but a lot of credit has to go to Gladbach, who put on a stunning performance and were absolutely clinical when the chances presented themselves. There are a couple of records gone too, as not only was it their biggest defeat since 1978, but it brings an end to a run of 85 consecutive games that Bayern Munich have scored in. 85 games in a row, they have found the back of the net at least once, until last night. That was an astonishing record. I think it is a world record, and it'll be very, very difficult for any team to even come close to that. But on top of this, and talking about a few records, they weren't the only major team to be knocked out of a cup competition last night, as Manchester City bowed out the Carabao Cup for the first time since 2016. Yes, you heard me right, 2016, when they last lost in the fourth round to Manchester United. Since then, they won every single Carabao Cup competition, 4 in a row, but they could not make it 5 as West Ham beat them on penalties. And honestly, West Ham are on a roll this season. The Carabao Cup seen them knock out Manchester United and now Manchester City. They'll probably end up getting Liverpool and beating them as well in the next round as they look to really earn their spot in the Carabao Cup final. Anyway, we're down to the last 8 where they'll be joined with the likes of Leicester, who won on penalties, Tottenham won at Burnley, and Liverpool, of course, who won away at Preston.